And so many times in these small businesses, they just don't want, that ego gets in the way. I always say, you'd rather have a big ego. An entrepreneur needs a big ego and to be humble rather than have a small ego. Because if you have a small ego, that small ego gets hurt real easy. And if your ego gets hurt real easy in business, you're in trouble. So that's what I try to tell the younger guys is to have, be all right with hearing no, being all right with hearing that you don't know what you're talking about. You had it completely wrong, and here's what reality is. And that's the hardest part that I see, particularly with the young guys.
Well, pride and ego. It's no different. I've got a couple of clients that I'm coaching right now who talk about pride and ego extensively. They're in 12-step programs. They're getting through drug and alcohol dependency. And they're so honest. They're like, we could never have worked with you when we were in the throes of our addiction because we were all wrapped up in pride and ego, which was preventing us from getting healthy and clean. And then we got into business and we thought we knew it all. And we had to literally fall down several times and almost go out of business. And they heard me speak on a cast. They reached out to hire me because they're like, you get it. You talk about the mistakes you've made. And because the list of mistakes I made is twice as long as the list of successes I've had.
Yeah.
But the successes I've had have only become from the mistakes I made and the learning I did through them. And pride and ego in any part of life is going to stunt our growth. And I love your willingness to say, listen, had I gotten this prospectus when I was younger, I may have made different choices. What I find is, as coaches now, my job is to guide my entrepreneurs on their hero's journey. I hired a coach to help guide me on my hero's journey. And he was very much, his job wasn't to be the smartest guy in the room as my coach. His job was to ask me the most critical questions and then for me to go out and find the answers and for him to give me that latitude in my thinking to realize I don't know this answer and that's okay. My job as the CEO is to remove this bottleneck and to go find the answer so that I can make my company grow and be the success that it turned out to be.
And I love hearing that because I preach the first piece of advice I give anybody is find a mentor. Find somebody who will give you some advice and help you guide you through it so that you don't have to do it on your own. So much harder to learn on your own rather than learn through somebody else's experiences. But that mentor needs to hurt your feelings. That mentor needs to tell you things that you don't know. If you have somebody soft shoeing you and making you feel good, that's how you know you have the wrong mentor. So the right mentor is going to challenge you, it's going to push you, probably going to piss you off, but if they're doing their job, but they're going to get you thinking and they're going to teach you in a way that you've never thought before. I had that, and it sounds like that was the same thing that you did.
I didn't until I did. I had to, I'm $600K in debt, 2 months away from losing my house. I'm a single parent. My son and I were literally going to be homeless. And I had a toxic and dysfunctional culture. My imposter syndrome was creating a depression where I couldn't get out of bed. And I was in really, really bad shape. And I finally put my hand up and said, I need some help. And I hired my first coach. And he was super kind and held me super accountable. And I said, well, I don't know the answer to that. And he goes like, well, your job is to go find it and then get back to me and we'll have another conversation. He didn't. The challenge with being an entrepreneur, I think for a lot of us is we don't have any boss. We're not accountable to anybody. We're accountable to ourselves. And sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So I made myself very, very accountable to my coach because I need to get out of that debt situation. And so, one story is we're looking at the quality of my staff. And I'd only hired people who had been in the recruiting and HR space. And it was not working. Clearly, I'm $600,000 in debt. Something isn't working. So in one day, fired the entire company, started over, changed how we hired. He goes, what you were doing wasn't working. What do you think you should do? I said, these are the core values of the organization. I believe after reading some of these other books that he had given me that I should hire to core values. What do you think? He's like, give it a try. You can't do any worse. You're $600K in debt, right? And we came up with a process called hire for DNA, not for resume. And the methodology behind it was, I'm going to hire really good people that I want to spend my entire day with, who we can work and collaborate together. I will teach them to be good recruiters, but I can't teach them to be good people. And because they didn't come in with a lot of baggage from competitors or other training programs, I didn't get a lot of, well, I didn't do it. That's not the way we did it at ABC Company. Or that's not the way I did it at my previous employer. And they were much more coachable. So I'm getting coached, then I'm coaching my team. And we just started iterating and trying and anchoring in on that intention of getting out of debt without having necessarily a clear path, but knowing that if we just put one foot in front of the other, as a team, not just me as an individual, we're going to get out of this. And that was a big turning point in the business.